Isn't it funny how a life-changing event can change the trajectory of your life, forcing an audit of the imbalances and push you into a purposeful direction? Well, that's me. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to wait to take back control and unlock all the areas of your life you've put on the back burner. Live wholeheartedly and experience joy. Watch your life unfold and blossom into the greatest adventure you've ever had. Welcome to the Anatomy of Life podcast. I'm your host, Lexi, and this is a show for you where every episode is a masterclass of radical conversations and thought processes to help you build your life. We'll learn together, covering those obvious topics like nutrition, health, and physicality to the not so obvious ones, like finances and relationships. The voices you hear will be ones just like you and me, as well as insights from renowned experts, making all the overwhelming information we consume easily digestible. This is your free health coaching hub. Let's get unstuck. But for now, have you ever thought about what health, the actual word, means to you? Perhaps the next voices will sound familiar. In our first episode for season 1, we are defining health. So we've all heard the word and all the buzzwords around it, from wellness or well-being to holistic and a balanced lifestyle, and so many other words. But I feel we have forgotten what the word health actually means. Perhaps this episode will have you thinking on what health means to you. I interviewed a diverse group of people whose voices you may resonate with, from a first-time to-be mom, an independent professional woman, a successful, well-rounded married man in his late 30s to a wonderfully successful woman in her 50s. And these people had professions ranging from HR managers to personal trainers, project managers, and engineers. I asked each person a series of 7 questions, and although their identities are concealed, perhaps one voice will sound similar to your own and where you may be in your life, and perhaps it will spark some courage in you to redefine what health is for you. And as we go through each interview, you will hear what the questions are, as well as what my take is on each question. So I'm going to pop the 7 questions in the episode description as well as on our Instagram page. So please feel free to answer them or ask them to your friends, your colleagues, and your loved ones. Now, the first question was, how do you personally define health? And here is what they had to say.
So I think where I'm at right now, I would define health. It would be internal. So internal health stuff like, are all the organs working in the way they need to be working? Mental, again, stress, emotional, how that would affect my body. Aesthetically, health is aesthetic to me. I'm only human. How I look, how I feel, and then physical, which is like how strong I feel, how strong my heart feels.
It is being very aware of every single facet of who I am.
Ooh, that's a good one. So health to me is everything that is connected in terms of your gut, your physical and your mental health, and how you handle all of that together equates to like this plus that is equal to your health.
Health for me of late has been just eating healthy, making the right food choices, because I am in my 30s, and in the past couple of years, if there's anything I've learned is that, you need to put the right nutrients into your body. You need to eat healthy. You need to give it the right food sources for it to function optimally. At one point in my life, I used to think that having a washboard tummy would be, healthy. It would be the epitome of health. Just having muscles. And I'm sure having muscles is great. We do strength training, so yes, having muscles is great. But it's not about having the perfect beach board. I wish I knew half the things that I know today.
For me, I would personally define health as happiness, longevity.
As you can tell, the answers, although sounding different, are at its core the same. It's all about balancing the various facets of one's life. Now, the idea of health as something to be achieved is often debated, and I wanted to give a few perspectives to consider when thinking about health as an achievable process. The first perspective is that health is a dynamic process, and many view health not as a static goal to be achieved, meaning not a fixed goal to be achieved, but as an ongoing process. It's something we constantly work towards through our daily habits, our choices, how you adapt to your life's challenges. Now, this perspective sees health as fluid, where different aspects of your health, like your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your social, require continuous attention and balance. Now, the second perspective is health as a state. Others might see health as a state or condition that can be reached and maintained. So, for instance, if you're achieving a certain level of fitness, or you're reaching a healthy weight, or managing a chronic condition, this could be seen as achieving health. Now, the third perspective is a holistic concept. And here, some people define health more holistically, which means that they are encompassing your overall well-being and quality of life, rather than a specific state that needs to be achieved. So in this view, health is less about hitting specific markers and more about how you feel and how you function on your everyday life. Health is a social and environmental concept. This one was quite new to me, and this is where there's also the perspective that health is influenced by social determinants and the environment. So that's meaning it's not just an individual pursuit, but something shaped by a broader societal and environmental factors. I mean, ultimately, whether health is something to be achieved depends on how you define it and what aspects of health you emphasize. To me, health is life. So, moving on to the questions. Each question was designed to dig deep into the world of health for the individual, understanding that each of us view this topic in a very different way. And that's because it's based on where we might be in our lives, from our age category to our professions, our gender, our lifestyle in terms of stress levels and relationship status. Every question you hear from now on are all puzzle pieces built to fit into the next. So after hearing question 1, question 2 was where it began getting interesting. The question was, is health something to be achieved? And to go hand in hand with that, a follow-up question was question 3, which was, if so, have you achieved health? Once you hear the answers, it might change your view on whether health is meant to be achieved or not, whether it's a destination or a journey, and it will give you a glimpse into how you view your health, how strict you are with yourself, and how much space you actually give yourself to grow and change according to what you need at any specific time in your life. Take a listen.
Yes, because I'm very goal orientated. So I have goals with every aspect of what I want to work on when it comes to health. I would say I've achieved it in the sense of I'm understanding it more. I've achieved it in the sense of sometimes I've cracked the code at the time and then my body switches it up. Right now, like in this moment in life, just trying to stay consistent.
There's no finite to achieving health.
100% I feel, because a lot of people are not aware of their health for a really long time. They kind of take it for granted, or they think that you just have it, right? But a lot of us live a very unhealthy life. So I feel like it's something that you can set goals in and hence achieve it within your realm of the God-given gift of health, right? Because we all technically were born with it, but how you grow into it is so different. So some of us neglect it and then we lose our health.
Yeah.
But technically you are born with really good health.
The way that you describe that, you are born with great health.
Mhm.
And we always take that for granted
100%.
and we forget that we are born with great health.
Well, I've always been an active child, so that really helped me a lot. And part of it, I would say, is the environment that I grew up in. I've had the love for it. I believe part of it is maybe genetics too, because my father loved sports as well.
Right.
And I feel like, and my mom hates it. Back in the day, we didn't have as much technology, right?
Exactly.
So I feel like we were blessed to actually grow up in that era.
Yes.
Because we were allowed to get bored. We were allowed to be very active, and that grew the creativity. It made us healthy, because the more movement that you have during the day, the more healthy that you are. Because to me, it's like my health is not connected to a particular sport, but it's connected to anything and anything I love, basically. So anything that makes me feel good. And that was it was always making me like the happy hormones, the good hormones that rush
the
in.
endorphins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get so addicted to it as well that you know that, for example, especially if you're going through something, you and I like spoke about this before, like whenever you're going through something extreme at home, you need something, you need like a, what do you call it? Like something to help you release that all the negative energy or the all like the cortisol that you know is built in, and the stress and all that stuff. And whether it's abuse, whether it's whatever it is, something that is extreme at home, you need to find a good way to release all of that.
A
healthy way. Exactly. So my healthy release was sports. So to me, sports and taking care of my health, it was so vital compared to just a normal person who has like a peaceful life, more or less, and doesn't have any major trauma and stuff like that. So to me, it was my number one goal. Exactly. It was therapy. And without it, if I don't take care of my health, I knew I was going to lose myself.
Absolutely.
So I had to hold onto it for dear life.
Yes.
You know, and it actually, like, it was very rewarding. I think we both like honor it so much because we know how important it is. And like for you and I both, like I think it saved our life, and we wouldn't give it up for anything else.
I think it's something to be maintained and continuously improved on. And yes, it's achievable. I think it's achievable for anybody.
So something that I find is that health is a journey with multiple little nuggets of achievements, and it has different levels, layers, and stages as you discover more about yourself. And as much as you can achieve it, you can maintain an achieved level of healthiness. Now, that's not to say you've ended the achievement in that specific area. That's just to say that you have set out to go towards a specific goal. And once you are there, you now have the evidence that you can move forward in challenging yourself to become better. So, for example, if I had not achieved like a 5K walk before and I wanted to, all I needed to do was work towards achieving it through days of training. The same goes for thought processes and actionable steps we can take and practice in our lives. Perhaps this is a good time for you to audit what you have achieved and what you are yet to achieve, and set out milestones for yourself. Not being too strict though, but allowing the ebb and the flow of your journey to unfold in its natural state. Now, achievement is not an end goal. I look at achievement as an ongoing process of mini achievables in my overall journey. So please feel free to DM me on Instagram with your thoughts on this. Feel free to disagree and share your insights into these questions. Now, how I have achieved health has been through giving myself time to understand my body, to get to know my inner self, how I function, what makes me tick, what I like and what I don't like, what I'll tolerate and won't tolerate, and how my body enjoys moving, and knowing that these things change over time, being open to that change and embracing it. I have achieved it through having a clean and clear, organized space at home. Moving in a way that feels good and not like a constant fight with my body. So running is no longer my thing, nor are HIIT workouts. I move and I eat for energy, for my longevity, and to enjoy my body and all the things it can do. I do my best to consume content that fuels my creativity and my zest for life. And when it comes to relationships, cultivating relationships that are reciprocal, non-judgmental, and loving. I really try my best to steer clear of foods that will harm me, and constantly look for foods that support my gut, my lifestyle, and my taste buds. I really want my food to taste good. I have to let go of the copy-paste method, and I think I have, whereby if it worked for one woman, it must work for me. I used to think that all the time, but now I know that that particular mindset is not true at all, especially for my individual needs. And I'm going to die on this hill, guys, because when it comes to bi-individuality, we have to understand that we are not the same as the next person. We are so individual and unique that we have to learn ourselves in order to achieve what is best for us in our health. My ongoing journey at the moment is to achieve a sense of oneness and harmony with myself. I'm definitely not giving my time up to just anyone anymore. This was a huge challenge for me. My time is my most precious asset, and it's a gift. And cultivating healthy time for myself in my schedule and my daily habits is currently, and most likely, my forever goal and the most forefront in my mind. Not wasting my time on things and people that don't serve my North Star and what I'd like to achieve. Now, most of the participants had mentioned to me that they'd never thought about the questions I posed to them. So it was so interesting to see them unlock new thought processes through this exercise around their health. Now, having already asked if they thought they had achieved health, I was interested to find out how they engaged in their health. Meaning, what did their daily habits look like? From how they chose to eat, move, and engage with others, either at work, friends, or family. And so the next question was exactly that. It was question 4, and it was, how do you engage with health in your life?
So it's been different at different times of my life. I would say that this year was definitely a year of health for me and my husband. So it was partly about, what the scale says. The physical piece, working with my awesome trainer, has helped a lot to keep more movement in my life, I guess. Mental health, I think my husband and I help each other with that. So keep each other going. Being an early 50s female, as your hormones do crazy things. Physically, I felt different. Mentally, I felt very different. So I think that kind of made me go, I need to do something to try to circumvent this. And I think I finally got to the point in my life where it's not all or nothing. So if I have a bad day or a bad week and I go off the rails or I lay on the couch all week, it doesn't mean it's all forgotten. Where it used to be, I'd just fall off the cliff and that would be it for months and months.
I work out as much as possible. On days that I can't work out, I would try to do a walk. So I try to get in at least 3 days of strength training. Discovered with time that I enjoy lifting weights. I like more of the low intensity workouts than the higher intensity workouts, which I thought when I was doing a lot of high intensity workouts, I thought I was doing my body a favor. But then again, it's taken me time to realize that my body responds more to low intensity workouts. And on the days that I'm not working out, I try and make sure that I go for a walk or try and squeeze in a few minutes of meditation. Few minutes, if it's probably 5 minutes of meditation. I do journaling, which helps with stress management. Listen to good music. All of that I feel is, these could seem like, oh, this is not a workout. This is just something that you do for fun. But I do feel like it's a mental workout. Sometimes just listening to good music sort of helps you unwind. And that's pretty much what I do. I try to keep it as simple. I don't do the complicated things anymore. And I've felt that, better health is achieved by just doing the simple things.
Interestingly enough, we often don't look at ourselves as beings that engage in our health. But once you break down your daily schedules and you look into your daily habits, it's easy to see what is and isn't working in your health. Once you see the engagement, you can better determine how to navigate, course correct, or be absolutely content in where you're at. So the way that I currently engage is a solid morning routine. I wake up in the morning and I have my lemon and ginger tea, and it's a non-negotiable for me. So it's like brushing my teeth. I switched it out from coffee years ago. I used to have 2 cups of coffee every day, and then I changed that out to be different types of herbal teas, and now it's just the lemon and ginger with honey. And I think that's been about 3 years now. I do my best to get in a workout every day, but it doesn't matter what type. It varies from weights to walks to Pilates. And this depends on where I'm at in my cycle, because I am a female and we have 4 different phases in our cycle. So it really depends on how my energy feels that day, where my mindset is, and I've learned to honor myself daily. So like not pushing myself too hard. I found that I don't respond at all with any sort of pressure of like, oh my God, you didn't get the workout in, now you have to double down. I don't do that anymore. I also engage with affirmations throughout the day, trying to be my own cheerleader, talking to myself the way I talk to others in an encouraging, loving, and positive way. This was not always the case for me, so I constantly catch myself in negative thoughts, and I do my best to transmute them to something more positive. It's always a practice. It's never perfect. I always try to be more engaging with my friends and my family. And rather than sugarcoating things with them, I try to be more open and honest about the situations with them. Keeping it real 100% of the time has always been a challenge for me because I was in fear of hurting people's feelings. But what I've realized is that it does not help them or me by being nice or doing that. I've had many people walk away from me, and that's totally okay because we weren't aligned and not sharing the same path. I won't say I lost friends. I don't believe you lose in life. You either win or you learn. Either way, it's redirection, not for perfection, but for peace. So moving on to question 5. We're almost at the end. We had 7 questions. Now, question 5 was, do you believe that physical, mental, and emotional health are interconnected?
100%. Like if I'm stressed, that will affect me physically. And I never thought it would actually, I never thought they were as interconnected until I experienced it myself, where your just body stalls and it holds on.
100%. Yeah. If the one's not working, the other two are not going to work. And in order to achieve that overall health, as they say, I think you need all three. You need to be in good shape in all of them, all aspects.
Absolutely. And I didn't realize it. Again, it's something that I've discovered in the last 4 years. And if I think I can say this, it was the first time that I went into therapy at a low point in my life, is when the therapist actually told me that, do you realize that your gut, if you're feeling some sort of way, it all begins with the gut. I would have never imagined that my gut would, the answer to a lot of my problems. So yes, to answer your question, they're all interconnected to each other. Yeah. Mind, body, soul, heart, everything. All of it.
So I didn't think that any of the interviews would say that it wasn't interconnected. And obviously they did not. Everybody thought that it was interconnected. At this point, with all the information we have in this day and age, who can disagree with all of our areas of life not being interconnected? There are. My long and short answer to this was yes. Of course it's all interconnected. If you're not emotionally well, you won't be physically well. If you're not physically well, you won't be mentally well, and so on. Now, having touched on this subject, it was only fitting to counter it with the second last question, question 6. And it was, what have been your challenges around health?
For me, it's the fluctuation of weight. That's been my biggest challenge. Like I said, I had extreme, let's say, dietary habits. And so it would be up and down. And once I thought I figured it out, things would change. And then it would throw me into a loop of it would throw me into a loop of stress, because I'm like, I thought I figured it out and then I didn't. And so, trying to rework that wheel and find what works for me again.
Coming to terms with my diagnosis of endometriosis, like actually having a specialist, not even one specialist, 2 specialists actually confirm my own self-diagnosis on this is what I'm faced with. But it also gave me clarity, understanding that my type of endometriosis and what my body needs is a specific type of diet which requires time.
Challenges. I would say I think one of the biggest challenge is finding the discipline. Sometimes it does take a lot of effort and work to be disciplined, and I feel like, because a lot of people always tell us, oh, how are you so motivated? How are you always this and that? It's not motivation. It's discipline. It's discipline. A lot of days we don't want to show up, especially once you do it to help others as well, where you're doing it as part of your career. Yeah. It's very, very different, because you're already spending so many hours on it that when it comes to you, you put yourself on a back burner sometimes. Yeah. And you're like, I've been in the gym exhausted for like 4 or 5 hours. I've been training people. I've been around dumbbells. So you somehow feel like as if you worked out, but technically you didn't get your workout in.
It's like a chef who cooks all day and then doesn't want to eat at the end of the day.
Exactly. Or makes crappy food in the microwave. How to, I think that was a challenge, I would say, to find that discipline at times, especially when you work, let's say for myself, I was working 2 jobs, right? I was an engineer and a personal trainer. So finding that, I would say, balance, but time for myself as well, to make sure that I still fill my cup, so I can fill other people's cup.
That was challenging.
That was very, very challenging. And I would say another challenge at times was nutrition. Nutrition was a big one for me.
Can't outrun a bad diet, girl.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I have tried.
I have tried too.
We have all tried. Exactly. We all fell into that. We're like, no, if I double down on it, and I can work out double.
Maybe the cheeseburger won't be so bad.
Exactly. And it's like, I'll work out 2 hours instead of 1. I'll do this and this and that. And then you realize how much it's taking a toll on your body, but your body's not recovering because you're not actually fueling it with what it needs in order to recover, in order to give you what you want. Yeah.
I would get all the workouts in, but I wouldn't eat, right? I thought calories in, calories out was the way to go. and so ignorant of me. But of course, I didn't know better. I didn't have anyone tell me better. And I've seen the changes now that I have concentrated more on food and nutrition. My body's responding to get the right diet in, and also to be patient with it. I guess the moment you start seeing results, you will stick to it.
Yeah.
But you need to be a little patient with it and trust the process. I do feel like I had an emotional attachment to food. Very close behind would be managing stress.
Finding time and staying dedicated.
It is hard to hear what people go through in their health, the challenges they face, and without sounding insensitive, challenges are a good thing. They are the catalyst for us to make vital changes. It's the looking glass into what needs course correction, and it's the push that we all need to look after ourselves better. My challenges have been mammoth, or at least they've felt mammoth, ongoing and never ending, but I've come to live with my challenges, looking at them as friends rather than foe, and I try my best to understand what their purpose is. So I answered the question as follows. I've had challenges around heart health, fertility, and my most prominent, the iron deficiency. And that alone has affected every area of my life. My iron deficiency affected my energy levels. I was always tired. I couldn't work out to my full potential. It even affected my muscles. I couldn't gain muscle the way I used to. And so I wanted to look chiseled, and like I used to have that flat tummy, but having iron deficiency actually retracts from that. And as a personal trainer, this was mentally damaging for me. It caused me to have mental and cognitive issues with brain fog and depression. The list was long, the mountain was high, and the road was dark. But what I took from this was that I knew how to walk long distances to see a better outcome. I was a strong person. I was a strong woman, able to climb any mountain. And I was the light that I needed to show myself. So all I needed to do was trust myself and my ability to know what was best for me and go from there. And I feel like this is your sign to look into your health, your challenges, and find a way to accept them in order to overcome them. Please remember to DM me to share your challenges and how you have managed to overcome them. It could help someone. It doesn't have to be just around nutrition or working out. It could be that you were not financially well, or you didn't know how to manage your money, your time, your relationships, and so on. So now, although all these questions were so interesting for me to ask, there was one that I kept for last. That was my ultimate favorite one, and that made all whom I asked really look into themselves and show gratitude to their journey and to themselves, which was, what are you most grateful for when it comes to your health?
I don't need surgery to fix anything.
I am most grateful for the mental resilience that I have.
Everything.
I love that.
Everything. So honestly, I love to practice gratitude all the time.
Same.
And ever since I was little, I am very much aware of all the little blessings, and I feel so grateful. I'm grateful to myself.
Yes.
Right? Like I
You
feel like
put the work in.
Exactly. And it's rewarding.
Yes.
Very rewarding, and I feel like now I'm reaping the benefits.
I am very grateful for, this body that I have.
Amazing.
And I'm trying to undo years of badly treating it. While I'm aware of it now, as I'm conscious of it now, I need to be grateful for this gift of life, this body that I have. At this stage of my life, I'd say my body is perfect for me. And a couple of years back, if you'd asked me the same question, I was like, oh, I don't have the right legs. Oh, I don't have the right skin. Oh, I don't have the right
We never have
torso.
the right anything.
Yeah, but I have begun to understand that this body as it is perfect
And
for
beautiful.
me. It carries me beautifully, and I'm ever so grateful for this life,
Vessel. Yes.
this vessel, and this life that
Yes.
comes with it.
Your heart doesn't skip a beat. Your lungs don't skip a breath.
That I get to wake up every morning, wearing my lungs, all my limbs, and I have a ton of stuff to be grateful for. So that overall makes me feel healthy.
Wellness should work for you. So needless to say, I am grateful for heaps of things in my life and in my health. Now, saying what you are grateful for out loud is such a beautiful and, to me, meditative practice, in my opinion. It's words of affirmation. It's acknowledging all that you have. I'm grateful for my family and my friends, the relationships we have built, the social life I am able to have with people I enjoy, and the healing I have begun to do over the years in my relationships. I'm grateful that I can let go of difficult circumstances and feelings, reactions, and emotions. It may take me a minute to process, but the letting go comes with an immense amount of freedom and peace. I'm grateful for the career path I've chosen. Knowing what I will tolerate in my workplace and creating my own workplace has been a game changer for me. I'm grateful for the way I work with my finances now. I've learned a lot around financial health, growth, what real wealth is, and financial freedom. I have by no means achieved it as yet, but I'm definitely leaps and bounds ahead of where I used to be. I'm grateful for my home environment, and that I have the means and capacity to work from home and live in a safe, clean, and peaceful environment that I get to organize as I see fit. I'm grateful that I have a choice on a daily basis, the choice of what I do with my time, the choice of what I watch, listen to, and read, the choice to eat what will fuel my body, to have the means to cook at home, and the choice to move with all my body parts intact. I'm grateful for having the means to embark on educational adventures, constantly learning, and being in a state of a student. I'm grateful for the joy, happiness, and creativity that effortlessly runs through me. I'm grateful for my spirituality, to have something bigger than me, to believe and trust in. I'm grateful for you, the listeners, and I'm grateful that you are able to hear this, share this, use it for your personal development and growth, and leave this world a lot better than you found it. So as I close the episode of Defining Health, I thought it only appropriate to give you the definition of health, the word, according to Google, as well as the WHO, the World Health Organization. So here's how they define it. You'll be surprised to know what the definitions are and how vastly different they are. Google defines health as the state of being free from illness or injury. But my favorite definition, and I think the most accurate definition, comes from the WHO, the World Health Organization. And they say that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. It is the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health, and it is one of the fundamental rights of every human being without distinction of race, religion, political belief, economic, or social condition. Now, I'd like to thank all the participants who lent me their time to interview them and shared so openly about their health. It is a vulnerable and courageous thing to do, and I am forever grateful to you. In our next episode, I will introduce to you the world of health coaching. You've heard about life coaches, business coaches, personal trainers as coaches, sports coaches, and the like. And now it's time to understand what a health coach is, the role we play in the world, how we complement various industries, and how you can either become one or benefit by working with one. That's it for now. I cannot wait for you to listen to the next episode. Remember to subscribe to get alerts of our next episodes. Share it with those you know will need to hear it. And here is to your health.